name, and the guy looked at me again and just he says, "That's my best friend. That's my best friend." I said, "No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
No,
No.
no, it's not."
Mm-mm.
And he
Not
just
not today, Satan.
Yeah,
just
not today.
yeah, he just immediately fell into that. That's my best friend. He started asking questions. I said, "Look," I called him by name and I said, "Stop."
Yeah.
And then I said, "Give me that and you go out. Just go out." Because honestly, I thought he was fueling things.
Yeah.
With it had suckered him in to the point that he was believing everything this was coming across the spirit box.
Yeah.
So at that point, I had to take control, and if you know what I mean, slow the investigation down.
Yes.
Get things back down to an even keel, and get control of that entity and get it out of our way.
Yeah.
And I think, now this is my opinion, okay? I think God intervened and had to move rather than us going in there, because I could find nobody else to help. In fact, I think I had contacted you, Leon, and you were on another case and couldn't come, and I couldn't find anybody local. Not even their so-called pastor would go in there, and I asked him, "Can you come in and do a house cleansing?" And he tells me, "I don't do that type of thing."
Yeah.
And so, honestly, I think God put them on the move, if you will.
Yeah.
Them out of the house, and not, and we didn't come in and subject ourselves to it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? With you saying that, and makes me come to the realization that there really isn't a lot of people who was actually trained to help in this manner, right. and it's I remember when you gave me the phone call, and I remember telling you, man, I'm so swamped, right. It won't be that month or the month after that, but it will be the next month or whatever, and but it's crazy because there's really only a handful of people that is qualified to help, and it's like 5 or 6 people, and that's really about it, but it's so disheartening to see that there's only so much amount of people that can help, but yet there's hundreds of people that claim that they can, but then they come in and make things worse. Right. So that makes me wonder, if we can put together some kind of training or something.
That would be awesome. I'd be first in line on your front door, brother.
Yeah.
Because I'll be straight up with you. All the instances I had in my past, which is on the negative side of things, I think that hindered me whenever I confronted this, and I was lucky, and I think God was with me, to be able to put this at bay enough for us to complete and get out of there.
Yeah.
Now, something that I've noticed, that a mistake I think is being made, and I've been guilty of it as well. When we go in and set up, or any team goes in and set up, and you have the client that's interacting.
Yes.
I think that the client himself is falling into just what just happened at that investigation. They're so, well, that's my best friend, that's who that is. And no, it's not. And and I see teams, I see them on Facebook and places around that are so involved with getting data, with getting the proof that it's there, that they totally get involved. They bring the clients in, the children, and all these people. They pull out Ouija boards and all sorts of stuff, and they're making so many mistakes.
Right.
Yes.
By doing those
Yep, I agree. Whenever we take on a case, we first talk to the client and tell them what our expectations are. One is that they do everything that we suggest them to do. If not, we will drop the case and move on to the next. Why? Because we got people waiting in line for help. We can only help people that is willing to help themselves. When you look at all these cases, it's 30% the demonologist, but it's 70% the client. They have to be willing to do the homework. But we also tell them when we come, after the interview, that's going to tell me if we need to do an investigation, if we need to go another route, or if we need to go in and go straight for the jugular. So I tell them with whatever happens, the only time I want the client there is if we have to do the deliverance. And if we and after we do the deliverance, we do that first. Then we send them out of the house, off the property, and then we do the house and the property. If we have to do an investigation, I don't want the client there. I want them away from the property so we can do the investigation. Why? Because it controls the atmosphere, just like you said. And number two, if something does act up and get really physical, then they're not there to actually go through all that stuff. So, I'm like you. The client doesn't need to be a part of it. I actually tell my clients, if I don't want them to investigate their own house, I don't want them to do EVP sessions inside their own house. If something happens, do protection prayers, and that's it. Don't challenge it. Don't do nothing. Wait till we get there, and then we'll go from there. But I'm like you. The client should not be a part of that in any way, shape, form, and fashion.
Well, I honestly, I made the mistake, and I learned from my mistake.
Yeah.
And I think I think me not thinking through things and trusting in God and what God has put inside me that was right to do. So I kind of put everything at jeopardy at that point. That's the reason I cleared the room, cleared the house, and kind of brought things back down. So there wasn't any type of anybody getting a negative influence or anything like that, because it was escalating really, really fast.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how one negative spirit, which it's not really one, there's hundreds, I'm sure, can influence one room with 4 people.
That's right. Exactly.
So, I learned a big lesson, and it's not happened since, and it won't, not in situations like that. So, that's maybe God's way.
But that's the way to learn. Whenever you do make a boo-boo, I tell you, sometimes we learn better by trial and error. There have been several times I didn't do something the right way, and I learned from it, and that never happened again. So every mistake you make, you get better with what you do, so therefore you can help the client in a more sufficient way.
Right. I kind of felt like God was up there popping me in the back of the head saying, "Look, dude, this is not the way that's supposed to go."
Well, sometimes you need a good pop in the head. I'm a very stubborn person, and that's why on my team, I listen to every one of my investigators, because there was an incident to where we were supposed to go clear out a old jail, and a very nasty, negative spirit there. Well, when we walk in, one of my investigators gets bum rushed. I mean, it sounded like a bull is coming right straight for her, and she has on her Blessed Saint Benedict medal, and it bounced right off that medal. She looked at me. She's like, "Yeah, I'm not feeling this one." I'm like, "Okay, well then you can step outside and just chill out, you know." But then my wife looked at me and said, "Yeah, honey, not feeling good about this one." I'm like, "Okay, well you can go outside and chill, and me and Alex will do it." And Alex looked at me and said, "Yeah, we ought to reschedule this one." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I had to listen to my team. So I'm a very stubborn person. Once I got my mindset, that is it, you know. But they're like the balancing act for me. You know, I can bounce things off of them. Say, hey, what do you think about this? And if I'm thinking something totally different, they're there to kind of steer me in the right direction. Because once I get my mindset on something, that is it, and that's what we're gonna do. But they're like but my team are like my eyes and ears. They're there sometimes that if I need it, that it's like a rudder to steer me back very, very slightly. There we go. Go for that one. Okay, cool, fine. But yeah.
My wife is that to me. She's literally reached up and grabbed me by the arm and pulled me away, and she would tell me, do you realize what you were doing?" And I'm like, "No." And we would be doing an EVP session, and she said, "It seemed like you were just getting mad." And I was just so in it, and we would get a response or wouldn't get a response or something, and she would just, "Hey, you need to go take a break." And thank goodness that I listened to her, because I did feel better once I got out of the house, the situation, and kind of cleared my head. So that's an important thing, listening to your team, because that's what exactly they are, your team. You guys work as one instrument, and
that's right. But
you got one that's out, one that's not acting, or two that's not acting in that manner. Then what good is your instrument?
Exactly. And then you also mentioned another thing too that is 100% great, is that you said that you got to get all this stuff out, and after cases, you got to have some way of just letting all that ickiness go, because you can do cases so much, and you can do so many protection prayers and stuff, but still, after a case, you feel like you're bogged down. You feel like you're icky. Sometimes you have you're more on edge than usual. You're more angry, and what I've done learned for me is that after cases, the very next day I'll schedule time for confession. Go and go to confession and talk to my priest about it. Just get it all out. Why? Because if you leave it there, then you're opening yourself up too for these things to come and harass you. So it's one of those things that you got to have a way to cleanse yourself inward and outward after the investigation or after the ministry of deliverance. You have to be able to do that.
Sure. I know we're running over a little bit, guys. I kind of wanted to touch on a couple of things. I do have Michael Goldston's in the chat room. I wanted to read something he put. He said, "We had an investigation where all we got all night were distracting activity. We began to wrap up, and it wasn't until the client returned that literally all hell broke loose."
Yeah.
Okay. I've literally seen that happen as well.
Yeah.
So what's your point of view on that?